we're going to college football because we have had massive, massive upsets in the college football playoffs. Some that if we were both in the air, I don't think either of us would have picked. And the fact that we have Miami versus
Ole
Ole
Miss.
Miss, and we have Indiana versus Oregon in the college football playoffs. I I think it's a good thing for the sport. I am rooting for both Miami and Ole Miss and Indiana and Oregon. I think all four of them are good stories. I do want to see Ole Miss stick it to Wayne Kiffin. I also think it'd be one hell of a story if Oregon faced off against Miami because of the Mario Cristobal being at Oregon. Now he's at Miami. And for Indiana and Kurt Sandetti to go from having only two winning seasons in the history of their franchise to being this potential Big Ten powerhouse, knocking off Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, then destroying Alabama in the quarterfinal matchup. All four of these teams have something you can get behind, and it's been four great games, which I did not think that we were going to get.
Well, I was definitely wrong about Texas Tech because if you remember, I had been saying, yeah, they're legitimate.
Yeah, I picked Oregon, and I said going into it, I thought, and I don't remember if we were on the air or not. We did our picks. I thought Oregon had the best side of the bracket. I thought they had the two easiest games to get to the semifinals.
Well, well, you, Texas Tech basically knew they were going to be playing Oregon. There was no way James Madison was winning that game. Tulane and James Madison did not belong in the college football playoff.
The whole CFP is a joke. And by the way, I do think it is something that the teams now up buys are 1-7 in the expanded playoff era. I do think that is something. I do think it's too much rest. I think 28 days off between the championship weekend and when you play New Year's Day is too much. I think it's unfair, and I do think that that needs to change.
I also think it would be so much better if the teams who got the buys, you know, were able to host these games on their own campus in their
Yeah,
stadiums. Like what what was the benefit for Indiana being the number 1 seed when you had to go out to Pasadena, California?
well, the benefit is getting a buy theoretically.
Right, but still like think about what that game would have looked like if it was in Bloomington,
No,
right?
I agree. But I think the thing is, Josh, is that the bowl era in college football outside of the CFP, even though ratings are still doing well, I think the bowl era outside of the college football playoff is it. Because I think that ESPN, who is mostly in control of this, wants another expanded playoff, at least 16 teams. And I think we're just going to get all these bowls condensed into the CFP and it's going to turn into March Madness. That's how I really feel like this sport is going. And that was my concern when they expanded it from 4 to 12.
I was at the Boca Raton Bowl down in Florida.
That's right.
It was Toledo against Louisville. Um, I'd say it was about 40% full. Mostly Louisville fans actually,
Okay.
which was surprising. Um, but it was a decent game. I had to leave midway through the fourth quarter, but nonetheless,
But I mean, did you see, like, for example, the Pop Tarts Bowl had better ratings this year than the NBA Conference Finals?
yeah. Um, and by the way, we were going to mention this on air. The Christmas games for the NFL, where the 4 teams were out of it, did better numbers than the NBA Christmas games.
And the NBA had its best viewership since 2017. So football is king in this sport. I think there are some things fundamentally wrong with the college football playoff. I think it's wrong that Brian Hartline had to leave Ohio State. I think it's wrong that Wayne Kiffin had to leave Ole Miss. Like, I think that does affect, like in the NFL, right? If you're a head coaching candidate, you can take a job, but you can't leave that team until your team's out of the playoffs.
Right. And
It-
think about what's going on with Ole Miss. Like, they're trying to prepare for a semifinal game against Miami, and they're having to worry about who's staying and who's going to LSU.
and
Like,
not only players, coaches as well.
that's And that's the part I'm more so referring to, not so much the players. And think about this: Trinidad Chambliss, their starting quarterback, who put on an absolute
Yes, he did.
show against Georgia. Oh my God!
And
Do
I got
you
to give him it because I didn't think Old Miss had a shot. I thought this was going to be like 35-7. Goodbye in the first quarter.
wait a minute? Do you remember the the semifinal game between Georgia and Ohio State, where Ohio State literally missed the field goal as it
At
transitioned?
midnight, yes.
And we all said like that was the actual national championship.
Yes.
I do I I think that we could be saying the same thing about that Ole Miss Georgia game.
That's interesting. You know, I just feel like Indiana's probably the best team.
I'm saying in terms of the game itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You
Like,
know,
because think
yeah,
about it.
you
Like,
could be right. You could be right.
because think about it. Like, in the actual national championship, it ended up being what, 65-7 or something?
Was that the year Georgia faced TCU?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so, and that's what I mean. It was like, we looked back and we're like, no, that Ohio State Georgia game was the unofficial national championship. That's what I'm saying in this situation. That Georgia Ole Miss game was so good, and it came like down to the final seconds, even though that final 1 second took like 15 minutes or whatever. But nonetheless, I feel like we could be saying the same thing.
Yeah, I thought the script was written. I thought they were going to have Carson back face his former team. Turns out that's not the case. Carson Beck has impressed me. I did not think he'd be this good. I don't have a read on any of these teams really besides Indiana, which is interesting because now Oregon's looking for revenge because Indiana beat them in their house earlier this year.
Or Indiana really took it to Oregon
Yes, they did.
defensively. So I'll be curious to see
They were very physical. They were running the football. They beat up Dante Moore. Like, if you told me any four of these combinations would make the national championship, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Do you realize that 3 of these 4 programs have never won a national championship? The only one who has is Miami. They've got, I think, 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's what I'm saying, too. This year, because of the storylines within the game, like, we may have been shocked. We all wanted, I know you probably didn't because you're a Penn State fan, but most of the country wanted the Ohio State Indiana rematch, and we wanted Ohio State Georgia in the semifinal. We are going to get good games, I think, in the semifinal. I just don't think they're going to be marquee like they could have potentially been.
Yeah, I agree. And that's also part of the reason why I'm saying I think the Georgia Ole Miss game could be the unofficial national championship because, that was a rematch of a fantastic regular season game in Athens. You had all the storylines of, everything with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and their new head coach who was only in his second game and Trinidad Chambliss. So I'm slightly. I know Oregon, Indiana is a rematch, but I'm more interested in the Miami Ole Miss game.
Well, it's also funny. If this is next year, technically Miami wouldn't have made the college football playoff because we had to put Notre Dame in because they put in a clause.
Yeah. That's also part of the reason why I'm liking this playoff is because Miami is showing, we belong.
I mean, it came down to a week 1 game between Miami and Notre Dame. If Miami does not win that game, they're not playing in this game.
No, I do think Miami's defense might be able to get after Ole Miss. Ruben Bain has been fantastic in terms of the pass rush.
Yeah.
Honestly, if he's there at number 6 for the Browns, I would not be shocked if they took him to
they should not. They have enough defensive linemen. They need to go get a freaking wide receiver to save their lives. No,
I agree. But if you put Ruben Bain alongside Mason Graham and Myles Garrett, that could cause problems.
Oh, it could cause problems, but then how's the offense going to score a single touchdown?
Fair point. But I'm very interested to see how Miami contains Trinidad Chambliss. And you got Lacey, who is planning on coming back next season.
Yeah.
Um,
Miami's a real team.
Yeah, but Lacey is Ole Miss's running back. He played well in the game against Georgia. I think Ole Miss has the momentum. Yes, Miami took out the defending national champions, but still, you beat Georgia. I think that's advantage Ole Miss.